Yes, sir.
Do you know anything about the Stick Indians of Yakima legend at all?
The what Indians?
The Stick Indians, and they want
Spell that. My hearing's pretty rough.
Stick.
All right, I wasn't sure if you were saying that or sick. No joke. It's just my hearing. My daughter, we were crossing a bridge once, and she said something, and I looked at her. Are you crazy? What do you mean, look at the rubber duck? And she said, no, look, the river's up. She looked at me like I was crazy. But no, sir, I am not. All right, on this side, anybody here? All right, we'll go from right to left and back and forth. You, sir?
This Planet X, the gargoyles, were you unclear about what they were reaping and sowing?
We are what they're reaping. We're food. We're garden. We're cows. And they eat us alive. To do so is to like put steak sauce on their steak. They dwell on, they just suck on fear. And they love, most of all, to eat the children in front of the parents first. Alive.
Is this the same as the planet Nibiru?
I think it is, but I'm definitely not sure because they have X and that, and I think they're referring to the same planet. All right,
Sir, you were on the RFL show the other day. You were talking a lot about Oregon. I think you were saying something about something going on in a small town of Bryan or something.
the gathering of eagles. Well, the migration of eagles. The Red Web Head Society, Mr. Rod Skenendorf, maybe you've heard of him. I'm not sure. Have you, hon? Rod Skenendorf, sometimes called Elk Chief.
Maybe another shaman?
A medicine man of the Oneida. Okay, he lives in Oneida, Wisconsin. And he was one of the head starters of AIM, American Indian Movement. And pretty well known. But we aren't all known. Gosh knows, I don't know my sister, she doesn't know me. Now we do. But you just can't know everybody. But what has been happening for many years is eagles, not necessarily American Indians, but people of right heart, people that have got the right intentions, have gathered together, some at a coffee shop, to pray for Mother Earth and for healing. And 6 blocks down, there's 6 people doing the same thing, not knowing about these 5 or 3 here, and vice versa. And I understand some of these gatherings have had up to 5,000. And I've been invited to one down in Mexico, way down in Mexico. I won't go to this one. And it looks like I will be going to one that's going to be taking place in Germany. That's really up to the Creator. But I feel a release that this is the right one. If I'm to go, this will be the one I go to. A great amount of eagles. And what I'm going to do there beats me. I'm nobody. You know, there's some pretty great people there. And I've just joined the crowd, and that's all I am. It's just, you know, basically I'm nothing more than a reporter. That's all. And, hold on, hon. But this migration of eagles is taking all those little groups, even up to 5,000 is a little group. Each of these groups are drawing a line, saying you stay on this side for Mom, Mother Earth, for mankind, Or you're on the other side, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. A little short line. And at that meeting, that's what they've drawn. Now it appears as if the lines are going to be totally connected. And it will be good versus evil. And what is evil? Self. We are our own worst enemies. Not this guy Lucifer. All he can do is tempt us. We're the suckers that take it up. Self. You are your own worst enemy. But that, hopefully, from what it appears, will take place at a lone mountain that is off of the edge, off of the end of the Blue Mountain Range in Oregon, southeast Oregon. All by itself. It's one mountain. And not too far from it is another mountain called Strawberry Mountain. These two mountains are connected with a tunnel system, a number of tunnels. And I've been ordered to tell about it by Mr. Rod Scannendor. So I'm just doing what he's told me to do as a member. He's the boss. So it should take place sometime this coming summer, if it's going to take place at all. And frankly, if it's of the Creator, it sure will. Hopefully thousands of people, all paying their own way, all eating out of their own pocket, sleeping on the ground if they have to. It's nothing fancy. It's just people that are going to look within themselves for a change. Get rid of bigotry. The bigotry of my medicine is right and yours is wrong. Or this is right, I'm the only way. Let's get together and love Earth. How can you give true love when you're fighting the guy that's giving true love too? Who's fighting you? I'm right, you're wrong. Oh no, I'm right, you're wrong. You've got to learn to love yourself. Get rid of this bigotry. Unity of heart. You've got to do it, or we're lost. If there's enough people that can do it, we can put off what is laying ahead of us to a future date. And then let our grandchildren, great-grandchildren, or whatnot take care of the problem. They're going to have to face it. It will happen eventually. But are we the ones that are going to let it happen? We don't have to. No.
Yes, you were talking about checking things out, and I'm not a Bible expert by far, but you said about this, they come down and harvest us. That is in the Bible, and I believe it's in Revelation, and it calls us like, harvest us like grapes.
Just because it's in the Bible, is that truly what it is inferring? People take things out of context, and the next thing you know, you got a denomination. Bracket what you're reading, and then go back and read what you were interested in. But go up above it, read it, that above, what you're interested in, and that below, bracket it so you don't take it out of context.
So, we're all thought up by this grand designer's mind, right? But I was wondering, do you suppose that we're all like these grand designers? You know, because who hasn't had a few thoughts? Different dimension, different world. So, and who hasn't thought of weird creatures? Is it an existing world?
Actually, let's put it this way. Who said that you invented anything? Let me tell you a story. I've told it before. A scientist came to the Creator and says, God, we don't need you anymore. And he says, what? What do you mean? He says, oh man, you know, we grow ears on mice, we can transfer it, we clone, we do this, we do that. We don't need you anymore. And he says, can you make a man? And he says, well, we clone them. I said, no, no, no. Make a man. Well, no, but I'm sure we could in time. And the Creator says, okay, son, you go, and when you have made a man, you come back and see me, and I'll step down if it's true. So, okay, so he turns around, starts walking off, reaches down, picks up a handful of dirt. He's going to make a man. Gets a few more steps, and the Creator says, whoa, whoa, wait a minute, wait a minute. And he turns and says, what? And he says, get your own dirt. What I'm saying is there is nothing man can make that has not been made. All we can do is rearrange. We got toilet seats, right? Plastic toilet seats. A rearranged bunch of stuff put together to sit on. But God made all the stuff for us to do it and gave us the ability, now hear this, to dream into being. You know, you think about it. God says, ye are as little g gods. Now, today, you look around, you wonder, you know, how can I be a god? Well, gee whiz, man, you know, way back when, we didn't have shirts or watches. I run around nude. Then got a little cold in certain areas, and I made a loincloth. Then got a little colder, and I made leggings. And then I thought, hell, let's connect the two. I got pants. Today it's called invention. But what it really is dreaming into existence, an idea. So we drive somebody's idea. We're lit up by somebody's idea. The only thing that you have that is not somebody else's idea is your own body. And then that's Dad's idea. He dreams us. We dream into existence anything that we believe can be done. Understand? And by the way, in medicine we call this working the dream. And I've done it, where I can make a person say exactly what I want them to say and write it down and give it to somebody. This person, someone I've never seen, I'll explain what they look like. In this car, this has been done. My wife can verify. This color car, I didn't know if it was a Chevy Ford or God knows what, but it was a little blue car with a young boy of about 13 will come up, look at this horse that they were coming to buy or look at. And they will stop, look at the horse, they will come up, pull in. We will meet them on the porch, which is no trouble. That's going to be common anyway. And she will open the door and say, is that the horse? And we'll say, yes. And she'll say, we'll take it. I wrote that down, and that's exactly what happened. Was I making a fact, or was I looking into the future?
I was interested in finding out more information about your instruction with the levitation.
All right. Know this, you don't have to buy the damn thing. Pick up the Bible, learn to read it for yourself. Follow the directions there and just do it.
I was under the impression you were instructing.
I do. If people are so damn lazy they can't read it for themselves, they can pay $33 for it. Now, you pick up the Bible, I'll guarantee you that the instructions on how to do all the things of the pale one, the pale teacher, the one the world calls Christ, the instructions on how to do what he did are in there.
The King James Version?
Doesn't matter if it's a Bible. as long as it's you know, some new age crap that's come out. I've seen one. I own one. Talks about God, so it must be a Bible, I guess. But no. King James, New Testament, or International Version. And if you don't believe me, I teach you how to get that information, but you got to buy it. All right? You can levitate, you can teleport, you can talk with animals, you can talk with plants, you can change water into wine, you can raise the dead, you can make the blind see. Everything that Jesus Christ did, you can do. And some medicine people do that. Was it done in the Bible? Well, there was a eunuch on running, you know, in a chariot, and one of the apostles heard him reading the word and hopped on the back and explained the word. They stopped at an oasis or some watering spot. The guy was baptized, and instantly the apostle disappeared and reappeared in a distant city. Instantly. Teleportation. Where does it talk about talking with animals? In the Old Testament, some prophet was ticked off, and he was beating his ass. Now, donkey ass, all right? And that's what the Bible says. And the donkey turned to him and said, "What are you hitting me for? What did I do?" You know, blew the guy away. Do animals speak? You bet your bitches they do. Did talk with a tree? Jesus stood there and talked to a tree. The next day it was dead. Did it say the tree talked back? No. But I can guarantee you this. The tree was so embarrassed not having fruit for the great master, it just willed itself to die. It comprehended. I can go on and on and on. And the scriptures do say this. Now, it's easy for me to talk scriptures. The 12 Interhyokas ancestors of this society learned at his feet. We followed him for over 2 years, 2.5 if I remember right, learning, 13. And I'm not Mormon, never been to a Mormon church. I get a little tired of them. "Oh, guys, you got Indian blood. You're one of the lost tribes." We ain't lost. And if they really paid attention to it, they'd find out that that lost tribe was the only one that didn't have men when the Creator was giving out sections. So he let the women have a section. And eventually, they married into the other tribes. They're not lost. But nevertheless, that's their problem, not mine. But folks, we are as God's little g. And it's easy for me to talk scripture. I haven't got 41 years to teach you. It took me that long before I was allowed to do what I'm doing. But I tell you, I can give you the key. It's in scriptures. It is the book. But you're not going to learn it from the pulpit because they don't see it. Because they were taught by people who didn't see it, who were taught by people who didn't see it. So it's not taught. But I guarantee you how to do the things that the pale one did, the actual instructions are in that book. Now, am I selling medicine? According to a number of people that write in on my website, they say, "You're no medicine man. Why are you selling these sacred secrets?" Frankly, if I wasn't a medicine man, how would I know the secrets? Yes, sir.
When we talk about the reptilian aliens and the gargoyles, how are we to protect ourselves from these creatures?
I have no problem. And I'll tell you how I do it. And I go against physical as well as spiritual. I love them. They're soul-bearing people. They're really screwed up. But they cannot stand to see the light of true love. And you cannot love somebody if you're afraid of them. I go with no fear. And I respect them, but they're no damn better than I am, and I'm no damn better than they are. and I love them. And believe me, I could give you personal experiences where I chased a gray, one of these little twits, with a dang knife, yelling, "I want your head." Into the forest, into the fog. Then I realized, hell, he's faster than I am, and he's gray in a gray fog. And where in the heck's my truck? So I gave up. And I wasn't killing a human being if I killed him. I wanted his head. The little grays are plants. They are cloned, or not cloned so much, as growing. So are their ships. 16-foot little round, saucer things. They come down, they hover over certain spots, usually around the pyramid area that has usually they're after gold, but there's other things, silver and stuff, and they mine this stuff. And excuse me, I'm going to get real gross here. These damn ships are of the same material as the little grays are. A semi-intelligent plant, able to get itself out of general trouble, all right? General. Throw them into a situation that they haven't been ingrained with, however the true grays do. They're in trouble. But the little ships are like the foreskin on a man's penis. They come down at 16 and they go back 200 or 300 foot wide, like a great big circle. They're beautiful. They're freighters, full of ore. And they just cruise right along. Guys, I was with, I believe it was 5 women. No, it was 5 women, because I was with them and there were 5 others and they were all women. So it had to be 5 women. And we watched 3 of these dang things really low. Gosh, I couldn't venture how low. They weren't at 500 feet, but I'm sure they weren't at 2,000. And as silent as an owl, not even a whisper of wind through a feather. And just cruising along in a V formation, and one would back off from the right, go to the left, go forward, while the other one would back, and then go back, only this one, and then go back, and one of the 2 would go forward. So you had a scout, and you had 2 regulars. One was taking on the duty of scout. We watched them until they just plain slowly disappeared. And I tell you, it was beautiful. It was like looking at a circus, a carnival at night, all lit up. It was beautiful. You can change the dream. If we can all unite with that in our brains, then we've got a great chance of changing it. But nevertheless, it's just like me having that blue car come up with that woman, that kid saying that. That's me by myself, what can be done. Think of what we can do as a united heart-brain combination. There is a great probability, and I'm watching it grow quickly, of a form, some are dreaming it as a civil war. No way. It is a war of madness, where everyone's against everybody. The blacks against the Mexicans, the Indians, the whites, them against the blacks, them against each other. And if you happen to have an in-law you don't care for, hell, blow her away, because you can blame it on a black person. Blow them away. You aren't going to be safe in your own home. And the government, they're going to try to come in and nail it down, and we're going to be fighting the government. It is, what I see is a horrifying thing of sheer madness. People just fed up with you on welfare. I've been feeding you for 50 years. Fed up with this, fed up with that, and just can't take it anymore, or rather won't. And guns, sure, guns are involved. Doesn't matter. Cars are involved. If there's some kind of a weapon, it's involved. Even probably, I'm assuming, a plastic knife. It's just madness. And we got to get it together and stop it. Then the other probability, and this is huge, and I think it appears after the first. By the looks of it, it does appear after this first, if this first happens. The madness. And that is 5 different, I assume, countries under one helmet is what I was showing. In short, all of one mind, one leader, whatnot. They attack America. We lose. And what happens is they come up on the East Coast, attack there. They come up on the West Coast, attack here, through Oregon, Washington, down, it looks like northern California, and through the Gulf of Mexico up through Texas. Our wonderful leaders, to protect their own butt and to protect Mr. Money, who all live on the East Coast basically, all the economical things are based through there. They start calling in the reserves, which aren't reserves. We're here preparing, on our coast here, preparing to do battle if they show up. They hadn't yet, but they're coming. So they say, shoot, let's take this bunch of the army to protect our butts here because we're losing people. We're fighting them off. They aren't gaining toeholds, but we need more men. So let's take them from Washington, Oregon, California, Texas, the center of America. Save my rear. Therefore, making the rest of us weak. And I've watched the armies come in through the Gulf of Mexico, in through Texas, like they were a hot, hot, hot knife. And we were very warm butter. It was a little harder on the West Coast, but not that difficult. That Southern Army came up, met the Western armies, the invaders, and in turn, they turned around and got the East from the back while they were fighting their front. And we lose.
How far off would you say that is?
Again, I'm only showing events, not times. But I see everything happen. If we don't change it, including Armageddon, within 20, and I want to say one word, but I am constantly in the last 3-4 days, 5 days, told to say 23 years. Within, all right? Like Mr. Bell, I told his staff members he was going to announce his retirement and blame his back. The guy has no need to have a back problem. I've told him how to heal it, and if he had used it from the last show to this time, he would be perfectly healed. He doesn't want to. He wants an excuse to get off the air. He's tired, folks. Who can blame him? He's tired. So he's allowed something, a holding. The holding of, I want to get off, but I love radio and I got a lot of fans. So he creates through holding a back, bad back. And he'll keep that bad back because that keeps him from feeling guilty when he walks away. He'll die with that bad back. But they didn't believe me when I told them. I said, okay. And called them up, I think 4 days later, might have been 5, and they were in a big hussy. And I asked, what's wrong? Didn't you hear last night? Our Bill says he's retiring. And I laughed. I said, well, I told you so. And she said, yeah, you sure did. Don't blame him. By golly, give that cat credit. Really give him credit. He has been good for the world. I would like to see him not have the bad back and retire and enjoy what he deserves without the pain. But that's his path. That's his the way he's chosen, subconsciously.
Do you see foresee earthquakes coming up in the next 2 years?
Yes, yes. Again, I don't know when I'm showing it. I'm not showing the time, the day. All I know that there will be a 7.2, and I was told this audibly. 7.2 earthquake. Some will say 7.3, now I'm quoting, 7.2 earthquake. Some will say 7.3, but it's 7.2. And it was said in that way. And I see it coming from the Portland, Oregon area. Whether Portland's involved, I don't know. Just coming from that area. I was living in Longview, Kelso, Washington at the time. And I watched it come from that area like a wave, about 10, 12, maybe 14 foot, more like 10 or 12. It certainly wasn't less than 10. And like a giant ocean wave of earth, just, and houses going, whoa, you know, and trees and telephone poles and stuff, and roll on down this way. I have no idea when it quit, but she's a doozy. And I do know this, it will be on a beautiful spring, probably mid-spring or late spring morning. It was long after the mud, but it just, I was there and smelled it, saw it, heard it, felt it, and it just seemed like spring to me. A beautiful early spring morning between, say, 6 o'clock to as late as 10, and I don't think it was close to 10. It's coming, God knows when. Mount St. Helens, I was shown when it originally blew, about 1.25 years before it blew. And I've been shown that it will blow again. Whether it's caused by this earthquake is greatly possible, because I saw no ash on the ground saying that the mountain caused the earthquake. I saw the earthquake with no ash at all. Mount St. Helens will blow out of the side known as the Ape Caves. Cougar, Washington is just instantly gone. Blows over towards Portland. I don't know if it ever reaches it, but the winds blow it all along our coast. And it gets really quite deep. Houses so deep in it, their roofs collapse. That's close to the mountain. Less and less as you go down. I don't know if it reaches Seattle. I think a dusting is there, because I see at least a minimum of 2 inches in Olympia. Then I see the wind change and take it east of the mountain. And again, just like before, on a beautiful early spring type morning. Beautiful day. And I've seen Mount Rainier blow. And it's really strange. Now this is what I saw, and then I had not met the people I'm about to tell you about. It took, not 1/3 of the mountain, and under a fourth, under less than a fourth, and just blew this thing up like we'd blow a dart through a dart gun, and turn over this point, this cone, turn over and come right straight back down, and hit the hole it just made, causing such pressure of air that in Kittitas County, where I live, I've seen holes, air holes, blowing, compressed air, up to 60 foot across, little dinky 2-3 inches, to these giant things. No lava, just poof, poof. Now I thought that this would happen last year, because in the vision I saw my 2 dogs with me, and like a dang fool, I make mistakes. And I should know better. But because I had my 2 dogs with me, and I expected my dogs to be dead before this year, they're not. I thought it would be during this last year. It wasn't. But it occurs at elk hunting time, either just before it or right there during the first part of it. Because in my vision, not a dream, a vision, I was sitting with some people who were bitching about the Seattle hunters coming over and just doing their number on the elk and not giving the locals any leeway. But nevertheless, this will happen.
I know a lot of speakers in the UFO field talk talk about lizards, reptilians, and different extraterrestrials. The psychic spectrum, if you're wondering why all these mass items are around here, recently had a Halloween party. And ironically, they left a lizard. I'm trying to think, I think it was from one of the movies, one of those spinning things. I was going to ask you, they left that up. Does that kind of look...
Well, you take those damn fins off their head and you got a good shot at it.
The teeth?
I haven't seen any with fins on their head.
What about the teeth?
The what?
Teeth.
Pretty good. You don't want a French kiss when I
Guy that made them is here.
Really?
Guy that made them?
Huh?
One of the people here made those figures.
Probably married to one. I'm gonna get skinned alive, aren't I? But no, you take out the fins, and they don't have hands like that. And they vary in size. They're basically just as we from Zulu, you know, down to an average size. And muscle-bound tail, not a big whipper. It seems that a higher anarchy do have quite a long tail, but not, you know, not to a point, but very fat and
Like Barney.
Huh?
Like Barney.
Like who? I don't know, honey. I don't look at Barney's tail. Okay, folks. People do have to go, and it is time. I want to thank you. Oh, good night.
Love, only love. Not getting even, not in spite. Love. This is what you were brought to this planet for. It's time you learn it. Listen to your heart. Listen to your drum. Connect it with the Creator. Lay your ear against His breast. Let Him wrap you in His arms. And be loved. And learn love. God bless you all. Creator be with you all.
If you wish to have that approach, or you can do it over a part-time periodic basis. When someone is changing a career, starting a new business, or attempting to achieve a significant change in their life, or are working in a particularly intense setting, it's important that they learn to balance this and see it as a marathon. There are different stretches when you are sprinting, but it is truly a marathon. I often think that individuals tend to only want to sprint and then die and sort of sit back and relax for a while, but it's really important for them to keep the perspective that it is a long-term process. When I think of myself over the various different months and years that I've had in both a working profession and as just a person that's here in this world, I often think of things that make me just want to refocus a little bit. Once in a while I think, what will be on my headstone? What will someone say to me when I die? What will be my achievements? I think of the questions and I try to come up with the answers and don't always have all the answers. But it's important to sometimes ask the questions of yourself to reground yourself of what is important. In the past, I have worked in various different settings. I have worked at an Indian reservation where there was a community at this particular time that was isolated in north central Montana, had an impoverished setting. It was a community of 2,500 individuals. I was an outsider. I was an individual that did not understand the culture or the environment that I was living in. It was a great chance to get to know some other group of ways of doing things. There have been experiments there where they were mining gas, where they were working with beefalo and buffalo to try to raise them, cattle ranching and other things. It was an environment in which I learned that people are the essence of what we need to connect with. From there, I went to work in New York City. Now that was a big change for me. In fact, there was a time in which I loaded all my things up and was sitting on the stoop in Brooklyn waiting for my semi-van to arrive and drop everything on the stoop in Brooklyn and say, okay, now move yourself in and do what you need to do. It was like dropping myself into a whole different environment. Instead of everyone knowing who I was, all of a sudden no one knew who I was. I was there in New York City, having the chance to experience all the opportunities that that place has, and I just fell in love with the city. I learned so much about what people say and do there. I was working both in Manhattan and out on Long Island. I was working in industries that all the way went from the entertainment industry, where I was running an off-Broadway theater, to where I was helping people that were homeless. I was working in Budget Rent-A-Truck, where at that particular time I explored my abilities with computers and my abilities in accounting and supervising others. There were times in which I had the chance to meet internationally known figures and to be in charge of the arrangements for those particular securities, for their visits and other things. Each of those parts of those experiences I've learned to reflect back upon while I've been a part of Renuvia. Because Renuvia doesn't just take you from where you're at, but to look at your past and your history, to identify the things that you have done, such as my fundraising skills, such as working with large groups of individuals or one-on-one counseling and discussions, and giving me the opportunity of seeing that that can be fit into a mosaic, a very broad mosaic of what my life has been and can continue to grow and do. I don't even know if I think sometimes inside of the box. What I like to do is think outside of the box at times and reflect upon how I can bring in other portions and notions of how I feel and believe my abilities and skills can be translated in people relationships as well as accomplishing sustainable models that others have put together. I am a team player. Renuvia is a team concept, a team of individuals that attempt to work towards helping you as the individual achieve your particular goal. We do provide the resources, both in the essence of various materials that have been created, of drawing upon what other groups use, because it is something that translates really well to a variety of different techniques and skills There is no one right way to do something, but there is a process that will enable you to discover the various different ways that are out there. That is Renuvia.
Good. Give me a smile. Not that smile. Okay. No way of knowing if it's recording over here. Yes, there is. Okay.
What I wanted to talk today about was the concept of how Renuvia is a building process that enables individuals to take their skills and abilities and translate it into a mutual success for everyone. And as we've been talking, Mike, we've said that it was important to take your skills and abilities and how we can roll that into Renuvia at this particular time. One of the areas that I see is so powerful is not only to talk about the different techniques, skills, and abilities that individuals can develop through a strategically designed package, but also to provide the resources to do that. And one of the mediums that I have been exploring has been the area of having, at this particular time, space available for people to use, and then having computer capabilities upgraded so that they can use what they need, how they need it, as they need it. But a key ingredient to that is to give them a feedback loop or a product that they can then take beyond the traditional forms of a resume and telephoning and other things to the marketplace to express how they feel and what they feel needs to be their presentation out there. What is it that makes a video presentation so powerful, Mike?
Well, there's the sound, the movement, there's a kind of an energy that you can videotape someone and it seems rather dry and doesn't seem that interesting. One of the things you do is it's like in a movie. You're focusing on one person. You're controlling the focus of the viewer. You're controlling who they focus on. And you can't do that in a normal environment because there's all outside distractions and things like that. You make them see what you want them to see, hear what you want them to hear, and you spice it up with movement and sound and titles and that make it a compelling story. So what makes video powerful is several different things, a lot of different things. Like for some people, just seeing someone on TV, they associate it with somebody famous. Mm-hmm. And seeing themselves on TV, seeing themselves gives them a chance to see themselves more like other people see them, and so it's great from that standpoint, from a character building and a self-evaluation, self-improvement. It's great from that, but it's a great sales medium, and either sound or sound and video together are both just a good way to get somebody's attention and to, because in a regular job interview, you're talking in real time, you're thinking in real time, and you really don't have a chance to really see how you're coming across to the person. When you do a video resume, you've seen it, you've critiqued it, you know that it's the best that you can do. It says only what you want to say in the way that you want to say it, and you're not put on the spot as you are in an interview.
Well, some would say that it's important to have individuals put on the spot, but I think that introduction process, it's important just to get a sense of who they are and what they are. Mm-hmm. And I think that some people have said that whenever you interview or when you are in a setting where you're meeting someone for the first time, it's that first few minutes that is critical in developing the relationship.
The first impression.
The first impression. And the first impression often is an impression that allows an individual to say this is going to work or not going to work. I was recently reading a book that talks about marriages, and the individual who's done a tremendous amount of research on marriages say that within 5 minutes he can often tell when he's observing a couple how that relationship will develop over the years and whether it will be one where the couple stays together or not. And when we're doing an presentation, be it for a job, be it for business, be it for whatever, there is that initial sense of, gee, that clicks with me or it doesn't click with me. Now, there are many different approaches. And part of what Renuvia attempts to do is to say that each approach, however they are crafted or developed, is your approach, is who you are. And to capture that on a video or in the words and allow the individual to say, this is someone I want to talk with, I think helps a lot from the standpoint that the individuals then can say, this is going to be worth my time to pursue or not pursue.
Well, the thing that one of the things I'm realizing about videotaping people and practicing it on myself is that the reason people are uncomfortable in a job interview, is that they're not that comfortable with themselves. They're not that comfortable with what they look like, how they sound, and so this kind of gets over that barrier. Most of us don't even have a clue what we look like to other people. The only time we see ourselves is in the mirror, and you're looking directly into the mirror. Your eyes are you never see what you look like from the side. You never see what you look like. You really don't get a good idea of what you look like in the mirror. You don't get a good idea at all of how you come off to other people in the mirror. Most people don't want to be videotaped because they don't want to look stupid. Well, that's exactly the point. We do a before, we videotape them. They're not going to like it. You're not going to like. I mean, I don't like seeing myself on videotape any more than anybody else does. But if I watch it, I can see what I'm doing wrong, and I can critique it, and I can get to where it looks pretty good, and so can you. So it not only helps you do a commercial, which is by packaging it exactly what you want to say and do, and give you that step in the door, that first impression, but it also helps you to present yourself, and I think all public speakers should routinely videotape themselves and play it back, so that when you do get in that real job interview, you know that they already have a good impression of you. So you go in with confidence. You go in knowing they know about what I look like. They know about they know my mannerisms. They already know me to an extent through this video. And it's not a cold interview anymore. It shouldn't be as scary a thing. It gives them a chance to weed out the people if they have, you're probably the only video first. Mm-hmm. But even if they got a lot of videos, it would give them a chance to weed out the ones that they didn't like, and you weren't one of those. So it's just the next, it's just something you can't get on a dry piece of paper. You can't get a sense of what the person is. And what we can even do is, when you talk about family, we can either just throw in a shot of your kid playing volleyball, or your wife, or we can throw in little pictures as you speak, so that instead of them just getting a picture, they say, oh, my wife and I go to church well, instead of them getting a picture of that in their mind, there's a picture of the actual, of you actually sitting there doing it. I like going out and meeting people. Well, it's one thing to say I like going out and meeting people, and it's another thing to see Gary out there shaking hands with everybody and coming back with a stack of cards like this from a meeting. It's one thing to say that you're an information gatherer and disseminator. It's another thing to see you going down the row of a table with handouts, picking up multiple copies of each one to distribute to everybody else back at the office. So you not only tell the people what you do, but you can show them what you do too, and you can implant the pictures that you want in your mind. You may say, I'm an information gatherer and disseminator, and they may just be going, oh yeah, you know what? They either don't understand what it means, or it's just words. And so that's one image they're getting in their mind. But you get the opportunity to put the picture in their mind of you actually going to the place, collecting the information, disseminating it, editing it, recording it in audio and bringing it back to the office. Whatever it is that you do, whatever it is that you bring to the table, you can actually show them instead of just telling them.
I think that the thing that I feel that the video, audio visual, and an audio presentation really allows people to do is to take the level from being just, I'm hiring someone or I'm making a presentation just from the skills levels that I'm hiring, or an objective level, but taking it to the plane of you're hiring the personality. You're hiring you're hiring the way in which an individual reacts and the intelligence that they have and how they can approach various different things. We've not been able very easily to appropriately find the right matches, and it is a match. It's not just one-sided where
It's
someone's
like a dating service, really.
And we don't have a very good techniques of how to do that. And there are now opportunities of communicating that we've never had before. Ways in which we can share the information, who we are. And it's not the yeses that we're looking for, it's probably the nos. And what I mean by that is that it would be better in the long run if we had a bunch of no's and it wasn't worth either party's time to talk with. And we want to find the yeses. And the other thing that helps us to realize that is that there are thousands of yeses out there that we just can't connect with. And we often are trying to connect with the no's. The people or the things where it's just not going to work, and that we're just trying to make it through the next day. Now this is a lot of theory, and it's not necessarily practical when you've got to put food on your table and when you're in your basic survival mode. And we all have to deal with our survival needs. But the thing that Renuvia tries to do is take it beyond the survival level. Because all of us can, I believe, find survival necessities that we have. It's that we never get beyond the survival level that really is the essence of what Renuvia is working to do, is take individuals, take companies, take concepts beyond the basic lower tier level and move it to a whole new plane of success and achievement. And success